It is very important to take care of some important things before marriage for a healthy and happy married life. Below are 6 key points. 1. Mutual understanding and mental compatibility. How are each other's thoughts, values, philosophy of life and future plans? If these are similar, the relationship becomes stronger. 2. Financial status and plans. It is important to openly discuss both the income, spending patterns, savings tendencies, and future financial goals. 3. Concepts about family and culture. It is necessary to understand how much similarity or difference there is between the two families and cultures. Family expectations should also be known. 4. Religion and values. If there are differences in religious beliefs and moral values, it can create problems in the future. Therefore, it is necessary to discuss them in advance. 5. Discussion about responsibilities and tasks. It is better to decide in advance who will play what role in matters of home, children, career, etc. 6. Important information about health and life. Any long-term diseases, mental health problems, or important information should be disclosed openly without hiding it. Relationships are built on a much stronger foundation if these issues are discussed and understood in advance. 1. Mutual understanding and mental similarity. Relationships are strengthened when there is similarity in each other's thoughts, values, philosophy of life, and future plans. Discussion on this topic. Of course, mutual understanding and mental similarity is the most important foundation of a relationship. Let's talk about this in a little more detail. 1. Thoughts and mindset. Every person's thoughts are different. But if two people have similar thoughts or mindsets, then they can easily understand each other. For example, if one is very independent-minded, and the other wants to control too much, then conflicts can arise there. 2. Philosophy and goals. If one person's thoughts on life's purpose, career, family, children, are very exceptional or different, and the other person walks a completely different path, then disagreements can arise in the future. Therefore, these issues need to be discussed before marriage. 3. Language and communication style. Many times, it is seen that one person speaks openly, while the other keeps his troubles inside. This creates misunderstandings. If understanding is good, such problems can be easily resolved. 4. Understanding and showing empathy for each other in times of trouble. When someone is emotionally broken or facing life challenges, the empathy and understanding of the partner strengthens the relationship. If there is emotional similarity, it is possible to support each other properly at such moments. 5. Respect and acceptance. Understanding is developed only when one respects the other, even if there are differences. Emotional similarity does not mean agreeing on everything, but respecting differences. In short, mutual understanding and emotional similarity means listening to each other carefully, respecting each other despite differences, wanting the same future or at least accompanying each other in their dreams. 2. Financial status and plans. It is important to have an open discussion about both your income, spending patterns, savings trends, and future financial goals. Financial status and planning are a very important aspect of married life, as financial stability largely determines whether the family will be happy. A detailed explanation of this topic is given below. 1. Clarity regarding both incomes. It is necessary to know before marriage. How much is the monthly income of both? Where does one work or want to work? Is anyone thinking of changing their studies or career in the future? This discussion creates clarity and helps in financial planning. 2. Spending patterns and habits. How much does each of them tend to spend? Example, living a luxurious life versus a simple life. Is there savings at the end of the month, or is everything spent? If one person is a saver and the other is generous with spending, then there can be problems, so it is better to combine them. 3. Savings mindset and goals. How do both of you feel about saving? Do you have any big goals in the future, such as buying a house, studying abroad, starting a business, etc.? Will you plan your savings jointly or separately? 4. Debt or liabilities. Does anyone have any education loans, personal loans, or other liabilities? How will they be repaid and will it affect future financial decisions? 5. Wedding expenses and future living standards. It is important to discuss who will spend money on the wedding, so that there are no misunderstandings later. It is also beneficial to discuss in advance how the expenses and responsibilities of running the family will be divided after marriage. 6. Financial independence and decision-making. Will both of you make decisions on financial matters, or will one person have more priority? Will there be freedom in personal expenses? Open and honest discussions about these issues before marriage strengthen the relationship. This reduces quarrels or misunderstandings in the future. 3. Understanding family and culture. It is important to understand the similarities and differences between the two families and cultures. You should also know the family expectations. Of course, the issue of concepts about family and culture is very important before marriage, because marriage is not just a bond between two people, but also between two families. Some detailed explanations on this issue are given below. 1. Family structure and lifestyle. Is your family and your future partner's family joint or unitary? What is the relationship between family members? Who makes more decisions? What is the role of women in the home, and how are men's responsibilities viewed? 2. Differences in culture and customs. Are there differences in festivals, food, clothing, language, or rituals? How different or similar is it to the way you grew up in your partner's family? 3. Family expectations and pressure. What kind of expectations does your partner's family have for a daughter-in-law/son-in-law? What is the family's opinion on jobs, having children, household chores, practicing religion, etc.? 4. Religious and social values. Are there any differences in religious observance or rituals? Whether the family's religious or social views are in line with your own values. 5. Who solves the problem and how? How is conflict resolved in the family? Is there discussion or is there pressure? Why is it important? If these issues are not understood, small misunderstandings can lead to big problems after marriage. On the other hand, if there is good understanding, it makes the relationship between the two stronger and the family bond becomes more beautiful. 4. Religion and values. Differences in religious beliefs and moral values can create problems in the future. Therefore, discussions are necessary in advance. Of course, the topic of religion and values is one of the most important aspects to discuss before marriage. A detailed analysis of this is given below. 1. The role of religious beliefs. Religion influences many people's daily lifestyle, behavior, dress, food, festivals, raising children, and even beliefs about what happens after death. The extent or importance of religious practice may vary from person to person. If two people have a big difference in their religion or religious practices, it can create problems in their daily lives, such as one person devotes time to prayer, while the other does not value it. One person fasts, while the other is annoyed by it. Disagreements over religious festivals. 2. Differences in values. Moral values refer to the outlook on life, the concept of right and wrong, sense of responsibility, sense of honor, appreciation of freedom or individual autonomy, etc. For example, one believes in independent thinking, the other is more conservative. One thinks it is normal for women to be working, the other thinks it is inappropriate. Due to such conflicts of values, the relationship can become complicated in the long run. 3. Children's religious education and future plans. If the husband and wife have different religions, or different attitudes towards religious practices, then there may be conflicts about how the child's religious education will be in the future. It is good to know each other's thoughts on this matter in advance. 4. Ways to solve. Open and honest discussions. Respect each other's religion/values. Clarify where concessions are possible and where not. Counseling or involving the family if necessary. Conclusion. The main purpose of discussing religion and values before marriage is to avoid possible future misunderstandings, conflicts, or emotional distance. Because if the foundation of the relationship is built on respect, tolerance, and understanding, then differences in religion or values often do not become a problem. 5. Discussion about responsibilities and tasks. It is good to decide in advance who will play what role in matters such as household, children, career, etc. Openly discussing responsibilities and duties before marriage helps avoid future misunderstandings and conflicts. This is not to say that everything has to be decided in advance, but having some things clear helps maintain balance in marriage. Detailed explanation. 1. Sharing household chores. Who will cook, clean the house, do the shopping, pay the bills? It is better to discuss these tasks in advance so that there is no one-sided pressure. Example: if both of you work, will you work on a specific day of the week? 2. Raising children and responsibilities. It is important to discuss in advance who will be responsible for what in the future, who will take care of school or medical matters, etc. Example: will both parents spend equal time when the child grows up? 3. Work life and career. If one person is highly ambitious and spends a lot of time at work, the other person needs support. It is important to understand in advance what that balance will be. Example: will someone take a temporary career break when they have children? 4. Age-based planning and handing over responsibilities. While roles may be set at the beginning of a marriage, they can change over time. Be mentally prepared for this. 5. Mutual empathy and compromise. It is important to have an attitude of empathy about how the other person will handle responsibilities if one person is sick or under mental stress. Why is this discussion important? Many people assume that all responsibilities will be naturally divided, but in reality, misunderstandings arise. Having some clarity in advance makes a relationship stronger. 6. Important health and life information. Any long-term illness, mental health problem, or important information should be disclosed openly without hiding it. Sure. Health and life essentials are a very important aspect of communication and understanding before marriage. This is not only important for trust and transparency, but also for preparing for the future life. Explained in detail below. 1. Long-term physical illnesses. If someone has diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid, hepatitis, asthma, heart problems, or any other long-term illness, then it should be disclosed at the beginning. Some illnesses require regular treatment and medication, which can have financial and emotional implications. It is important for the partner to know this in advance. 2. Mental health problems. If you have depression, anxiety, panic attacks, bipolar disorder, or any other mental problem, it should not be hidden at all. Support from your partner plays a big role in mental well-being. This requires openness and understanding. 3. Fertility or childbearing issues. If someone has a physical problem with having children, or knows in advance that treatment may be necessary, then that information should be disclosed. Some couples have decided not to have children. This should also be discussed clearly. 4. Infectious diseases or past medical history. If you have had infectious diseases such as HIV, STDs, hepatitis, etc., or have received treatment in the past, you should honestly disclose it without hiding it. 5. Important life experiences. For example, any major surgery in the past, accidents, rehabilitation, rehab, psychological trauma, etc. If it has any impact on your current life, your partner needs to know. Why is it important to disclose? It shows respect and trust in your partner. It helps with major decisions in future treatment, having children, or daily life. If a problem suddenly arises, your partner can be prepared in advance.